All right, guys, it's time to recap my trades from the last week of January. It is yet another frustrating week. I don't know if I'm ever going to have another good week. I lost another account. Um, yeah, so I don't know. Going into this week, I was I felt like I had no excuse. I had no reason whatsoever to not follow my plan, my setups 100%. I have very specific criteria and setup rules for entering trades. I know I'm aware of like the thoughts that creep into my head that cause me to make bad decisions and cause me to take losing trades. So um, there's two main things. So one is taking a trade when I'm not sure that it meets my criteria, like it's unclear, and I take the trade anyway. And then the second major one is kind of knowing price action isn't what it needs to be for my setups to work. But again, I want to try it anyway because maybe it'll work. So those are the two huge things I'm aware of that just cause me to like lose. It's hard to believe that those are the only things that are, affecting my trading. I don't know if that's true, but they're things I'm aware of that I need to fight the urge on. I have a strong urge to enter a trade anyway, and I really have to, fight that. And so this week I was really focused on not entering trades if they didn't clearly meet my criteria and setup rules, and also just in general taking high probability setups. So I only took 4 trades this week. That's it, only 4. Um, and every week when I go back and I look at my trades from the week and kind of give myself like a report card on how I did and see like what my results should have been if only, there's always this like, if only I did this or didn't do this, I would have this, right? And I never have that. Um, but what usually find is that if I could just follow my rules and stay out of the unlikely to win trades, I should be profitable basically every week. Um, Not always, but just, from back testing. But that wasn't the case this week. I still was unprofitable. So I don't know. It's very hard to figure this out. So anyway, Monday, I took no trades. I wanted to. There's 2 setups. I identified 2 setups, and both were winning trades. The other thing I feel like I have this like extreme, like bad luck when it comes to trading. And I'm going to talk about that throughout the week. But so I identified 2 setups, both won, and I wasn't in either one. So, and it wasn't because I didn't try, but the first one I tried to get in on. I didn't get filled. I didn't get filled by like 1 tick, and that's maybe not true. Like I came in a little late and price had already come down near that fill area and then moved up, probably by a few points. I didn't get filled, and that was a 60 plus point winning trade. So I was super annoyed with that. I didn't get in earlier because I have a rule of not trading the first 5 minutes, trading breakouts specifically because I would get faked out. At least not breakouts of like these levels specifically. So I was waiting for that, right? I was following my rules, and then I just didn't get filled. So that was really annoying. I then identified a second setup right here to come in long. However, I felt like that was a lower probability trade because I think it's a little hard to see on the screen, but I had a resistance zone up here, and I decided to stay out of the trade because of that winning trade. So that's frustrating. Part of me feels like I need to reduce the amount of thinking I'm doing when it comes to like making decisions to enter a trade, because it seems like I always make the wrong decision. This was a winning trade. What I could have done and what I actually am doing moving forward is lowering my TP. So if I lowered my TP, this could have been Not such a high risk trade. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to do moving forward. Okay, Tuesday, so no trade Monday. Tuesday, I took two trades. The first was a loss when I entered short down here. I thought it was A plus. I felt like I had no notes on this trade, but now I actually did kind of learn to add something to my rule book. I have so many rules that I think will keep me out of this trade in the future. We'll see, and then I'll just have to reevaluate the data when I have enough examples. I then took a long here on this candle. It was exactly the same setup as Monday. I decided to skip out on. This time, there was no resistance zone up ahead, so I saw it as a higher probability trade. Price right here was 9 points for my take profit, and I moved to break even. I have been on the fence about like moving to break even, trailing my stop, etc. I've noticed there's quite a few times where price gets close to my TP, stops me out at break even, and then moves to TP. So I kind of know, like, part of me wants to not do break even at all unless I'm like 2 points away, or if my target is really far away, I'll move to break even if it's like just really far away. But I know 50, 60 points isn't that far, frank you. And then I just convinced myself that it was a good idea because this had a pretty deep pullback right here. So my break even was pretty far below this level. And I thought, well, that's a pretty good level because look how far we retraced, right? However, I got stopped out at break even on this move down. And if I had stayed in the trade, I would have gotten into drawdown again back here. However, by the end of the day, this had to hit my TP barely. Okay, so by 3 o'clock, just before 4, actually, yeah, this is like before 4. It had hit my TP without ever going to my original stop. So after this day, I decided it is full TP or full stop from now on. I'm so annoyed with getting stopped out and then it going to my TP. Now, this would have taken all day, which is crazy. And you know, the bad thing about that is just the longer you're exposed, you're in the market, just the riskier it is, right? Like you never know in that time Trump's gonna tweet something. But the other thing is I had an appointment actually at 1. I had to leave, and I wonder if I didn't do break even, if I would have closed the trade just so that I didn't run into an issue of like not being home in time, closing out. I don't know if Lucid closes out for you at the end of the day. I mean, this particular day I was home in time, but like you never know, right? What could happen. So I don't know. It would have been in profit if I had done that. If I closed out, let's say around late after 12, almost close to 1, it would have been up here, but not quite TP. Either way, like it's really frustrating that I didn't have a win here because I kind of knew I shouldn't have moved to break even. Like I know this, but I don't have a hard rule on it yet. But after this day, I do. I'm not moving to break even that soon. So that was really annoying. So this is break even, but like it should have been a winning trade. Okay, let's go to Wednesday. Wednesday was FOMC day, and I kind of knew price could be choppy. I might set a rule for myself to just not trade FOMC days anymore. Last FOMC day looked a lot like this. It was just choppy, ranging slow. I took a short. I took a loss. I thought it was pretty textbook. I thought it was exactly what I was looking for. But again, kind of learned a lesson from this day on something I need to be careful of. So, I don't know. There was a second opportunity for a short, but I decided against it because price action was so slow and like just not really, we were in this tight range, and I decided not to enter because my lessons learned tell me that I should not enter when price action is slow. Like, basically, like if price action is putting me to sleep, then I know it's not good price action for me. If I find myself doing other things, right? Because I'm bored of watching the charts. That's my sign. So I decided, you know what, I'm done. I'm not going to take another trade. And it was a winning trade. It went exactly to the level that I would have targeted and beyond. And so, again, this is just another example of like me being able to identify setups, but this decision making that I do, I just seem to like I make the wrong decision every time. And I don't understand. I don't understand. So I think in the future, maybe I just won't do FOMC days. I don't know. But I kind of hate like just taking days away. Like I want the days to trade. I want it. I want it. I want it. So taking a day off just because of something like that is not something I want to do. But all right, Thursday was my only winning trade all week. And it wasn't big at all. It was only 40 points. So it doesn't make up my losses. This was a day I was proud of myself because I stayed out of two trades I really wanted to enter. But there was something I was a little unsure about. Like, even though I have these rules and criteria, I swear, like, every time it's different. It's just never the same. Um, my lessons learned, it's hard to like see that they apply moving forward. Yeah, because just every time it's a little bit different. So I decided to stay out because I wasn't sure. And that was my focus for this week, is to not take a trade if it's not clear or I'm not sure. So I stayed out of two shorts. Both were winning trades. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating to see that like when you follow your rules, the trades work. And it just, maybe my rules suck. I don't know. Like it just really messes with my mind because then I get into this cycle of like, well, I should take all the trades because I'm missing out on trades. And then this sort of cycle happens where I take more trades, more losses, and then I scale back, and then I end up where I am now, where I skip on trades, they win, and then this sort of cycle just repeats itself over and over again. So, but today I'm proud of myself for staying out when I wasn't sure, and I think that's the hardest thing for me is restraint. And I think for a lot of people is restraint when you really want to enter a trade and being able to say no. So I am proud of myself for that. Obviously, I'm frustrated that they worked. But anyway, I entered a short here, and I got 40 points. So obviously, price moved way, 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 way more than that. And it's kind of hilarious when you see, when I just think like, oh, I just got 40 points right in this little area, when it moved just so much more than that. But anyway, that was a 40-point win. On this day, I forgot to mention, yesterday, this is the day I blew my account. I blew my 50K. I was a few $100s away from blowing it. I took a trade on gold. So gold is one I want to be able to have strategies, but I also haven't put a ton of focus on it. The day before this, I was watching gold, and there's 3 setups. There's 3 areas I was like interested in trading, but I didn't take them, and all 3 won. And so today I was like, you know what? Let's do it. I'm going to take a gold trade. The thing is, I risk the most on gold. And I was kind of close to blowing my account, so that's why I didn't want to take setups the day prior. So I took that after I took a loss and blew the account on gold. And it was the same setup from the day prior that worked. Another example of like, I have horrible luck. Like, how is it that I have this ability to identify trades, but they work when I don't take it, and then don't work when I take it? I don't know. I just can't explain it. I really can't. Okay, Friday was a no trade day. I was really hoping that I could there'd be a banger trade. I could have a profitable week if I had a winning trade. I just needed one win. It could have been a minimum win, and it would have been break even. But to prove to myself that if I could just follow my rules, then I'd be profitable. However, there was no trade for me. I kind of wanted to come in long, but I fought the urge and didn't do it because I knew the price action was not what I needed for that setup. So I'm proud of myself for that. It's nice to see that when you fight the urge that it works out in your favor, because the day prior it did not. Um, there was a setup I was interested in down over here. I wanted to go short, but it's not a setup of mine. It's something I'd have to do some back testing on. But I don't know how to explain this, but like once in a while when I'm watching a chart, there's a candlestick pattern. It'll just stand out to me as like, ooh, like I want to take that trade. But it's never really a setup of mine. Like I have very specific models that I'm trading. So I didn't do it, but of course it was a winning trade. I think I would have targeted about 60 points. So this is something I'm going to do some back testing on, and maybe I'll try in the future. So that was kind of frustrating. And then there just wasn't anything else. There wasn't a setup for me to take, unfortunately. Pretty rangy morning. And that's it. So I ended the week 40 points down. I did open a new account. So after I blew my account Wednesday, I did open a new 25K. Honestly, the new accounts that Lucid has, they're better rules anyway, and I got it even cheaper. However, I'll be honest, I was really debating if I should buy another account. I maybe shouldn't have done it because I just haven't been able to prove myself. Like I haven't been able to prove I have a winning win rate. I haven't been able to prove that I could pass an account. I haven't been able to prove anything. And so really, I should stay on Sim. But I bought an account anyway. I don't know. I just feel like if I can follow my rules, it seems like I should be able to pass. So that's what I'm really like stuck on, is if I can just, be disciplined enough to only take those high probability, very clear setups, I should, like be profitable. And it's very frustrating that that's not the case. Especially this week, because I feel like I did perfect. I'm going to rate myself like 90%. The only thing I feel like I did bad was I mismanaged my Tuesday trade when I moved to break even, and I kind of knew I shouldn't have. But I didn't even think it was horrible. And if I didn't do that, I'd have a profitable week, barely, but still. And yeah, so this was a tough week, knowing that I traded exactly the way I want to trade. I stayed out when I wasn't clear. I stayed out when the price action didn't match what I needed it to be. And I only took trades that met my criteria and setups, and yet I still lost. So it's very frustrating, and it just makes me wonder, like, what do I need to change? I don't know. I mean, there was a little bit of bad luck. I didn't get filled on one trade. FOMC day, maybe I shouldn't have traded. Every week, I swear, every week is something new. It's something different that I have to figure out how to incorporate into my trading rules. And it's part of what makes trading so difficult. It's so difficult. But anyway, that is my recap for the week. And obviously, as always, I'm hoping next week will be better. Have a good weekend.